Hey everybody, it's Chris Lagarde here with the Chris and Caleb Real Estate Team, where we are committed to dramatically impacting lives through real estate. So, started out the video just a second ago with the sign for Emotionally Healthy Leader Conference. That's where I'm at today. I'm actually in Westchester at the West End, used to be the Italian Club. It's got a church here now, Providence Church, and really good conference. So the topic for today is getting back to basics. I didn't want to miss a Chris and Caleb Team weekly video, so I'm doing this impromptu outside with a few notes put on my notepad here. I'm going to make this as quick as I can, but also as impactful as I can, because what I've learned here is, I don't know, it has the ability to really change things dramatically, at least for me. So in addition to this conference, I actually spent some time with the top 50 real estate agents in the region yesterday talking about things, and the theme was getting back to basics. And so again, let me talk about that for a second. So what do I mean by getting back to basics? I tend to overcomplicate things. I take something simple and make it complicated when it doesn't need to be. A great example of that would be like, I don't know, if I need to call some clients or whatever, I look up the best ones to call and who, just do some research and whatever. It's like, look, just pick up the phone and call people. So when it comes to the Emotionally Healthy Leader Conference, one of the things they've recommended, now granted this had a spiritual theme to it, and so, whether you're a religious person or not, doesn't matter. This is going to apply to everybody because, we all work in rhythms, and when we overcomplicate things, or also known as get too busy, it affects things. So here's what I want to share. Sabbath, taking a regular Sabbath, which, in the Old Testament, that was every Friday night to Saturday night, where you didn't work. That is extremely important, and we forget that in the busy culture that we live in today. It's killing us. It really, really is killing us. And so we've got to get away from saying yes to everything, and instead of saying I'm busy, say I'm sorry, I'm limited. That is crazy, because by saying oh, I'm busy, it means, oh, I can't take it on, but I could, but I'm not going to. But by saying I'm limited, that acknowledges that you can't do everything. And by watching your schedule and taking a regular time off, that's really important. And so from a faith standpoint, with myself being a Christian, having that regular rhythm of a Sabbath is extremely important. Saying no to work, saying no to non-work but work-related things, maybe like working around the house or chores or things like that, is really important. So it also kind of tells you, when you do that, where do you find your self-value? I know for me, it's like I get so wrapped up in work, and I could very easily say, oh, I'm a realtor, and even I'm one of the top realtors in the area, and I could get caught up in some of that from a self-worth standpoint. But I've got to avoid that. And by saying, look, the world doesn't need me to run. I'm going to take off on Sunday, which is the day that I typically choose to have my quote-unquote Sabbath. It's saying that the world doesn't need me. Now, granted, for clients and things like that, we take care of you. That's why we have a team. We've got systems in place to take care of you. But, you've got to set that up so you can take that time off and shut down for a while. And honestly, to be the most effective, you've got to focus small and make sure that what you're doing is just effective. We tend to overcommit, and we do a ton of things, but we don't do anything real well. And to make a real deep impact on people's lives, you've got to cut things off. You've got to be very specific in what you do. Here's one. Sleep. Holy cow. Sleep is so important. I've been learning a lot about sleep. In fact, there's a podcast I would recommend. I believe it's called the Model Health, and it was last week's episode. I'll see if I can't put maybe a link in the description for that. But it was a podcast all about how sleep is extremely important in setting up a routine for you to follow at night, so your body can easily and more quickly get into sleep. So check out that podcast for sure. And the last thing I'll say is that be as sharp as you possibly can be. So sharpen your axe. The parable of, like, look, I think it was Abraham Lincoln or someone like that said, look, if I'm going to chop down some trees, I'm going to spend 90% of my time sharpening my axe, and then the rest of the time actually cutting down the tree, because if I work with a dull axe, it's not going to work. And the same thing goes for us. If we want to impact people the most in this world, have the deepest impact, we've got to be extremely sharp. So it's up to us to make sure that we are sharp and we're taking the time to do that. And so very, very important to make sure that we are sharpening ourselves. And the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, great book, talks about that as well. So hopefully that's helpful. I'm going to trust that it is, and really appreciate everybody that watches and that gives feedback. Keep it up, and if you guys need help real estate wise, you definitely know who to talk to. We'd love to help. All right, have a great day.